Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Anil Joshi. Welcomes you to my ebook of radiography. Radiography ebook is basically a set of videos or lectures demonstrating how to take an X-ray, what are the anatomical structures covered in it, what are the angulations covered in it, a brief radio anatomy of the structures, as well as a technological factors like what should be the angulation to the tube, what should be patient's position, and how to modify them. Because as it is known that radiography sometimes deals with a stable patient, as well as we have to do radiography when patient is not stable. Now same technique cannot be applied for both the places. A patient cannot stand, there has to be a technique which can be modified for the supine patient. So for that a good knowledge of anatomy is required. If not in detail, at least a radio anatomy, what we call, or a gross anatomy, as well as surface marking. Surface marking, that is the on skin, how to identify what structures are inside. Then one should also be acquainted with different radiological lines, that is acanthomeatal line, what is called as CAML, then lip meatal line, that is LML, then mentomental line, then orbitomeatal line, and some anatomy landmarks. We are talking only of the skull, that is the external acoustic meatus, then forehead, then we should be aware of zygomatic process, then we should be also aware with the angle of orbit, nasion, then chin, etc. So these are the landmark which you are going to use when we are going to do a radiography. So also there are certain things we must take care. We are going to handle patient is going to be on the table. Now here we have to take care of both. As far as technologists are concerned, he should wash his hand frequently after touching the patient, and also he should wear disposable gloves. As far as patient is concerned, sometimes he has to lie on the table with face facing the tabletop. At that condition we have to give him, we usually use plastic pieces to give them, to keep a good hygiene. So also after patient's procedure is done, patient's table needs to be, or the table needs to be cleaned with antiseptic. Now disposable gloves as well as cleaning table with antiseptic are extremely two precautions we have to take in a skull radiography. Along with it, technician should also be aware of radiation protection norms, that is called as ALARA, which indicate exposure to patient as low as reasonably achievable highest level of quality or highest level of clarity. Now this should be achieved. We have got two factors with us, one is MS and second is KV. So as per the tube rating allows us, we should use KVs somewhere around 100. So also we should use high MA. If we use high MA, keeping constant MA as the factor, we can reduce the exposure timing. So also that can be compensated with high KV. So exposure technique has to be aware, or patient has to be made in such a way, patient has to be positioned in such a way that there should not be repetition. There will be a high MA, low second, low exposing factor X-rays, and we can achieve still a good quality of X-rays. This is our website on which we can get full details of these web pages. That is the Learn Radiology with Dr. Anil Joshi is the name of the series which we are conducting, and this particular lecture is on skull epilateral and Townes view, and the print is about our imaging website, in which you can get different type of information on radiology. Now there are certain disclosures. As far as we are concerned, we have done all these videos in the radiography department of BLDE, that is Sri B.M. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, Vijayapur, and we are also taken help of the technicians. We are very happy that our management has kindly allowed us to perform all these things. Most of the material is either prepared by us or it is from the department. We have, as far as possible, taken care to see that there are no royalties or there are no copyrights on any of the material which we have used. Now, radiology or radiography is a radiation modality. A care will be taken to minimize the effect of radiation by the technologist. That is what we call as ALA or LRR principle. So also we have got a perfect design radiography rooms so that no radiation can leak out. Now, patient's protection of the staff in the radiography room is a the total responsibility is taken by the technician. So whatever instruction he gives has to be followed by patient as well as those who are working in the department, so that the benefit will be maximum. However, the side effects will be minimized. We will not say zero, but they will be minimized. Now, there are different type of boards written and they needs to be followed carefully. The upper board is for radiation, that is alpha, beta, gamma rays, and below is for the radiography department. So these are two different symbols which are used, and we request a strict discipline and precaution should be taken and followed. Instructions should be read properly and it should be seen that they are not violated, and they should cooperate with the technologies for all these things. Now, what is the principle of radiation protection are based on three. One thing is distances, because radiation follows inverse square law. It is something like you are 2 steps away from the radiation source, your radiation will get reduced to almost 80%. Now, second is speed of exposure, what we just seen now. We should use as much high MA available on the machine as possible, so that MA's product remain constant and the second will get reduced. So to reduce the exposure timing can be done or achieved by increasing the MA. Now, third is to radiation shielding exposure. Now, we should use barriers, we should use distance. There are a lot of methods which are discussed extensively and clearly in some different lectures of principles of radiation protection. It is requested that those who are interested in having more knowledge, more information, should see the lectures. Now, there are different planes. First is anthropological plane, second is the orbitometer line. Orbitometer line is the most frequently used line by the radiographers, and there are interpupillary line. Now, these lines are extremely important as far as radiography is concerned, along with the anatomical structures. Now, there are 2 planes in which radiography is usually done. One thing is lateral and AP as it is shown. Sometimes we have to take oblique or tangential as for the information. What are the anthropological lines? Let us see. First is isometric, that is the baseline. It is formed from inferior orbital margin to the upper border of the external auditory meatus. Now, second is orbitomeatal line. This original baseline runs from the outer canthus of the eye to the center of the external auditory meatus. Then is the interpupillary line. This is the line that connects center of the orbit and is at 90 degrees to the median sagittal plane. Note, there is a difference of 10 to 15 degrees between the orbitomeatal line and anthropological lines. But orbitomeatal line as such is used in extensive ways and is commonly and most frequently used line. Now, what are the projections? That is a lateral view, then fronto-occipital AP. AP indicates a direction in which ray is going. From anterior, the ray is going posterior, entering from anterior aspect, exiting from posterior aspect. Then fronto-occipital with 30 degrees caudal, that is Townes view. Then occipitofrontal view, that is PA. Then is the occipitofrontal with 15 degrees caudal angulation, that is the Calvel's view. Then submento-vertical view, that is the basilar view, and the occipitomental view, that is the Waters view. This we are going to see in subsequent part of this video. Let's come to skull AP view. Skull AP is the when ray comes from anterior aspect and exits through the posterior aspect. Now, what are the indication? Why the technician should know the indication is he has to see that that portion is covered and that portion has come properly in the X-ray which he takes. If not, he has to change the angulation, he has to change the patient's position and see to that the purpose is achieved. That is the evaluation of median and lateral displacement of the skull fractures. So if there is a fractured skull, you need to know the displacement. then there is indication secondary headache, then suspected intracranial pathologies, then certain diseases like patient diseases, pathologies involving vault of the skull, and scalp pathologies are the further indications. Why the technology should know the indication? He has to see that that anatomical structure is covered in the X-ray. Sometimes the requisition comes just as a chest AP, but which AP has to be decided by the technician. Now, how he decide is by the brief anatomical knowledge he has got, and secondly, how he can position the patient. With these two, he can see it. Now, here we are given in brief how the view is taken. This is a handy chart or handy page for the technician when they are actually taking the X-rays. They can quickly see it and do the things accordingly. Now in this, the back of the patient's head is placed against the image detectors, then center at the nasion, then the angulation. Angulation refers to the tube angle, that is 0 degrees. Now most of the advanced machine has got a meter on them in which you can know the angulations. Now angulations can be cranial or caudal. That it will be decided by the views. Now object tube distance should be 100 centimeter and film size is 10 by 12. Last is a bucky. The film size is by and large speaks of it, but you can use a larger film, or usually it is done by the technician so that there will not be any cutoff or there should not be any repetition. But the optimum size is 10 by 12. Then fronto-occipital view, that is the AP. Fronto is A, occipital is P, that is the direction in which ray moves. Now patient lies supine on a bucket table, head is adjusted to bring the median sagittal plane at right angles to the film. The external auditory meatarses are equidistant from the cassette. The orbitomeatal baseline should be perpendicular. Now what it means? You have to prevent the radiation, you have to prevent the rotation. Then third is the angulation of the tube. Now first you do by applying proper techniques, that is optimization of radiation. You see that minimum LRR, that is minimum kV, minimum ms will be used. Number 2 you see is the patient is not rotated. Now how it is seen? By the distance of the external auditory meatus on either side. You go to the other end of the patient, have a look at the patient, and both are symmetrical so that there is no tilt. What it only indicates, there is no tilt. And orbitomeatal baseline, what it indicates is the proper extension flexion of the patient. You adjust it with the help of pressing the chin or elevating it. So that is the important thing. Now central ray. Where the central ray is? The central ray is directed perpendicular to cassette along the medial sagittal plane and through the nasion. So nasion here works as the anatomical landmark for radiography. The field should be set to include the vertex of the skull superiorly and base of the occipital bone inferiorly. Now here we are showing it diagrammatically how the ray should pass. Now here you can give angulation depending on patient's need. Because the skull radiography, the important is to see the part you want to visualize. In that, accordingly you can set the angles up to 30 or 37 degrees, also cephalad or caudal according to the indications. Now let us see how the X-rays are taken. Patient is supine on the table. The orbitomeatal line is perpendicular. There is no angulation to the tube. The distance from patient is 100 centimeters. See, all these things are achieved perfectly. Now we can go for the radiography. Tube angle, orbitomeatal line, patient's position, and a collimator should be compact. You should not expose entirely as far as possible is concerned. Now see, the position is adjusted so that it is not a rotated film, and the second is collimator. Collimator is also adjusted before taking a X-ray. Area of interest here is the skull vault. Second, what is the position of petrous? It can be seen through the orbit. If you are seeing it not in the orbit, then angulation is not in straight line. So petrous tells you what is the exact idea, or what is the PA is taken properly, or it is with the angulation. Now the best it will be seen in this are the frontal sinuses. Now you can see here the left side there are good frontal sinuses, but right side there are hypoplastic frontal sinuses. So sinus can also be seen good in this X-ray. Nasal septum can be seen good. then you can see also the hypertrophy terminates on either side. So this is the main indications of this X-ray. Now you have to go to now second what we are seeing is the skull lateral. What you see in the skull lateral and why they are taken, what are the indication, contraindication, we are going to see in this coming video. Now what are the indication are the trauma, then second are the headache, third are the suspected intracranial pathologies, then for assessment of SELA, then certain diseases and pathologies involving base of the skull. So these are the few indications, not all indications. There will be many more indications, but these are the few. Now for this view, what is a take home page is this. Then position of patient is either prone or sitting. Now as I told you that sometime it is not possible for patient to sit or do the maneuvers, then we have to make patient adjust it accordingly. Now distance is 100 centimeter, film size is 10 by 12 inches and it is Bucky. Now in lateral view, as I told you, why the prone position? Prone position is comfortable for patient to make a skull lateral. Otherwise in supine position there will be a difficulty. But what will be done if the patient cannot get prone or sit? That is called as a shoot through technique, and that is a modification of this for the lateral view, in which you use a horizontal ray and you keep the cassette on the side required. On right side you take if you want right lateral, you keep cassette on the right side. If it is left lateral, you keep cassette on the left side. Now what is the patient's position? If it is sitting is okay, then Bucky, and head is then rotated. So patient first sits, then face is turned and his affected side is touch the cassette in such a way that median sagittal plane is parallel to the Bucky and interorbital line is perpendicular to it. Then position of the cassette is transversely in erect position such that its upper border is 5 cm above the vertex of the skull. Otherwise the skull will get cut from that side. So adequate margin has to be there. Now these are the photographs of a skull lateral. Now we'll see how a skull lateral is taken by the technician. The patient is in prone position, the head is turned to the side, the distance is 100 cm from the table, then the center is made at the TM joint. Don't forget to make a collimator with minimum settings. So this is the way head has to be. Now whatever position has been made is modified a little bit because it was a tilted one. So tilt is removed and it is made to one side completely. Now we can see the digital cassette giving signals even if there is a dark. The dark is to make the collimator position clear, but this radiography do not need any darkness, it can be done in routine light. It is dark is taken to show you the lights of the digital cassette. That is the DR cassettes. Now what are the important structures in it is the mandibular rami. You can see the clivus, you can see the greater wing of sphenoid, then orbital roof, frontal bone, you can see the lesser wing of sphenoid, then anterior clinoid process and posterior clinoid process. That is as far as SELA is concerned, any cellular pathology can be picked nicely. Then there is a parietal bone, occipital bone and dorsum celli as well as a temporal bone. These structures are well seen. How to know that this is a true lateral is from the angle of mandible. They should overlap each other. If angle of mandible are not over each other, then it can be a rotated view. So that care has to be taken to know whether it is correct lateral position of the skull. Now we are showing you another two soft tissue exposures are used when you are suspecting some soft tissue abnormalities. Here the technique is same except for CR processing you make it in a softer way. So that is a soft tissue as well as a routine. You can see anterior clinoid, posterior clinoid as well as the SELA in addition to the vault. Now Now let's see the skull fronto-occipital with 30 degrees caudal angulation, that is called as a Townes view. So Townes view is basically a AP view with angulation. Now in this we are going to see what are the advantages of a Townes view. Coming first to indications. Now evaluation of medial and lateral displacement of the skull fractures, then for assessment of the petrous mastoid pneumatization of internal auditory metastasis, the view is used. So also foramina magnum pathologies, you can see foramina magnum very nicely. Now how the patient is positioned, this is a key chart for you to keep it as the reference regard. Then position of the patient is supine or seated. Because it is AP Townes, you are going to have ray coming from anterior aspect, frontal region, and exiting through posterior aspect, that is occipital region. Then central ray is mid-sagittal plane, centers to the midline. Then perpendicular osteomeatal line, 30 degrees caudal. So this is a 30 degrees caudal view. That is because you want to throw petrous over the foramina magnum base of the skull, and to give it a better idea about the petrous pneumatization, internal acoustic metastasis. So also a occipital bone will get expanded to give it more details. Now this is a film size and a Bucky. Yes, it is a Bucky picture to get a more clarity. So let's go to the Townes view, that is fronto-occipital 30 degrees caudal view. Position is same as central ray is angulated caudally. So let's make 30 degrees to the orbitomeatal plane, then center in the midline such that the beam passes midway between the external auditory metastasis. This is a point approximately 4 cm above the glabella. That is the external marking for it. It is important to make osteomeatal line, orbitomeatal line perpendicular if needed by giving a small sponge below the head. Now you can press the chin. By and large it suffices. But sometimes if it doesn't, particularly patient with cervical spine problem, then you will have to give a small pillow behind the in occipital region so that the neck will get flexed and you will get a proper angulation. Now as far 30 degree angulation is concerned, in case if you find to change it, you can change it. We are going to see it when we see the pictures actually, or that is a radiograph action in which we can get it more idea. Now what are the essential of image characteristic? The sella turcica is projected with the foramina magnum. Now sella lateral we have seen in skull lateral, it is seen very well. But if we want to calculate volume of sella, we also need sella in transverse diameters. Now to get sella in transverse diameter, this is the best view. See, the sella turcica is projected within the foramina magnum. It should include all the occipital bone and posterior parts of the parietal bone, and lambdoid suture should be visualized clearly because it gets enlarged and projected above. Now this is the graphical aspects and views. This 30 degrees sometimes needs to be modified. Now here you can see the dorsum sali, then posterior clinoid processes. So sella transverse here you can get. Then both the petrous are projected above the foramina magnum. So you can see foramina magnum clearly. All the fractures which are involving foramina magnum, it's a wonderful view. In that you can take it. Then mastoids are seen on either side. Symmetrical comparison of mastoid can be done in this projection. Then you can see the occipital bone slightly elongated or slightly magnified. You can get any pathology in occipital region, especially fracture pathology is best in this view. Then you can see the petrous ridge also. So this is a wonderful view as far as these aspects are concerned. Now how you take it, let us see. Basically it's a AP Townes. We are showing you on a horizontal Bucky. Now see, patient is lying on the table in AP position. Now here what technologist has done is, he has set first the tube at 100 centimeters, then he has put a cassette. Usually the cassette size is 10 by 12 or 14 by 17. Then he is making now angulation of 30 degrees caudal. So this is the angle he has made, 30 degrees caudal. The scale is there on the hand, that is the arm of the one that holds the tube. So there you get the angulation. So he has given 30 degree angulation. Now he is checking that there is no rotation of the skull. That has to be seen from head end. See how it is to be seen. There is no rotation, chin has to be pressed, so the orbitomeatal line comes parallel. That is what he is checking. And last is he is checking for the cassette, whether it is correct or not, because the vertex should not get cut off. Though we are using here 14/17 cassette, it can be as well done on 10/12 film or cassette also. But anyway, in CR and DR, there is not much difference as far as cost is concerned. So this is the AP Townes view, taken mainly for the vault, occipital region, etc. Now sometime with straight angulation, with 30 degrees angulation, you cannot get the proper views. So in that condition, the angle, this is not a Townes, it is a AP. Now we are going to see what happens exactly in AP and Townes projection. So if you want to have a correct Townes, the angulation differs from 30 degrees to 0 degrees. Now sometime this AP is taken just for the comparison purpose. It is not a Townes view, it's a AP projection. It is taken here for the comparison purpose. Now we'll see the radiographs to know and some importance of taking a angulation. Now the second radiograph is showing skull AP. We have seen two demonstrations, first and second. So also we are going to have two radiographs, first and second, in which the chin is placed down. For want it works. If you want to take X-rays for the want, for the fracture want, this projection works. But if petrous is expected, that is also needed for the angiographies, that is called the angiography Towne, the angle differs. The required angle is between 0 to 30 degrees. Both views we have shown you. With 0 angle also we have shown, and we have shown you with 30 degrees also. Interestingly, this projection was described by many more people before Townes, that is in 1929. It was far before used. It was taken with chin depressed with 40 degrees caudal angulation earlier, and that was called as Chamberlain's method. However, Townes modified it by directing central ray to the mid-sagittal plane from the point 3 inches above the eyebrow to the foramina magnum and gave no specific central ray angulation. So though we call this as 30 degrees angulation caudal's view, by the self, that is by the Towne, who was a radiographer, that he has not specified any angle as far as how much is to be given. So it is left to the technicians. Angiographic Towne is different, routine Towne is different, and what is the basic aim seen here is a petrous projected above foramina magnum. So that's the only criteria we see here. Now we are showing you two X-rays. The one with less angulation, and second thing is with more angulation. Now with zero angulation, you get it something like a petrous view orbit, or petrous view the orbit is, that is strained AP, and second is a Townes view in which you can see clearly the petrous getting projected above. So that is how a Townes is interpreted. If you find that Townes view needs to be modified, it is required, because many times we keep in mind the pathology we need, and when we take the X-rays, patient cannot really press the chin. That what usually happens when the patient is traumatic. We try to press the chin, but he doesn't. So whatever angulations we give, we may go wrong. Now in that condition, how to be sure that this is a Townes projection? For that reason, I have shown you both the projections, that is AP also and with angulations also. If you want petrous to project more above the foramina magnum, you increase the angulation more. Sometimes it is not exactly possible to get orbitomeatal line perpendicular to the table. In that condition, your angulation of the tube changes. So best way is to remember what you want rather than looking at what angle you have given. Let's come to the projection that is called as skull PA. The name indicates PA. P is for posterior, A for anterior. So in this, the ray starts from posterior aspect and exits to the anterior aspect. Now why it is taken? it is taken to assess the petrous bone, that is internal acoustic meatus. So it is also called as petrous suborbit. Now any fracture of this region, either of the petrous or of the face, are detected in this view. Then the frontal sinuses are best seen, and details of the nasal cavity are also best seen in this view, especially nasal turbinates. You can see best in it. So also the pathologies like nasal polyps are best seen. Then any suspected sinal pathology, particularly of the frontal and ethmoid sinuses, are best seen in this projection. Now what is the patient position? Sitting or prone position. Sitting when we take is when we want to see a fluid level in frontal sinuses. So if frontal sinusitis is suspected clinically, we have to take patient's X-ray in a sitting position. So it has to be in sitting position. If not, a prone position can be taken. But in prone position, a sinus's fluid level will not be seen. Now central ray is at midline, that is at Nasion. Then angulation 0 degree, that is a forehead and nose resting on the Bucky OML perpendicular to the IR plane, that is in IR, that is the incident ray plane. Then tube distance is 100 centimeter, film size is 10 by 12 inches, or Bucky is needed. Vertical Bucky, horizontal, then routine table Bucky. Now occipitofrontal view, we will see further details. Then position of the patient can be either seated, facing the erect Bucky, that is what we have seen in our radiography department, so that the median sagittal plane is with the midline of the Bucky and perpendicular to it. Neck is flexed to bring the orbitomeatal line perpendicular to the Bucky. This can be achieved by ensuring the nose and forehead are in contact with the Bucky. So the position of the patient is extremely important. Then the central ray, CR. Ray is directed perpendicular to the Bucky along with the median sagittal plane and at the level of Nasion. Images should include vertex superiorly and base of the occipital region inferiorly. Now this is, we are shown in both ways, in sitting position as well as in the lying down position. Now let us see how they are in a video. First check the angulations, then position the table, position of the patient on the table. Bucky or non-Bucky as far as conventional radiography is concerned, as far as CR is concerned. But in DR, you do not need any Bucky. The DR itself is a device that can capture the image, display it directly on the screen, and there is no need for Bucky in this technique. You can take directly. Now technician is collimating so that the centers are coming correctly, then distance is adjusted to 100 centimeters. See, it is shown that it should be 100 centimeter, centering has to be there has to be proper collimation, and patient should be in a prone position. Now we are ensuring everything, and once everything is ensured, then only we'll get a proper petrous suborbit or PA. Now everything seems to be correct, distance is checked, yes, it should be 100. Right, it was a bit expected less, so it needs to be corrected. You make it to the 100, you see that everything is correct, you see that table patient is positioned correctly, that is the centering is checked. Now once everything is found correct, then we can go for the exposure. Yes, everything seems to be fine, we can go for the exposure. That's correct. Again, it visualizes all the things, how patient should be, how the tube should be, how the angulation should be, and remaining. In that, what we see is a petrous suborbit. That's the correct thing we should see. Now frontal bone is seen at best, frontal sinus is seen at best, then anterior clinoid. Maxillary sinus here are shown, but that's a very small portion of maxillary sinus. They are not seen in this, they are seen better with the PNS by Waters method. Then oblique orbital fissure, then posterior clinoid, petrous ridge and crista galli should be seen properly in this view. Now these are the projections. Now what you are seeing the difference, in first the petrous is down, that means the orbitomeatal line is shifted slightly up, so nose has to be elevated. If the nose is elevated, petrous will go down. Now see the next one, the petrous comes slightly above, that means the orbitomeatal line is checked properly. And in third you are seeing perfect PA, that is petrous to orbit. Now see the position of mandible. If the angulation is wrong, you will see the eyes, you will see the petrous, and you will see the mandible. So that's how a correct PA is taken depending on your indications. Frontal sinus you will see everywhere, nasal septum you will see everywhere. But if you want to see properly a petrous and particularly mandible, these X-ray angulations are extremely important and they cannot be standardized. You need to know anatomy, then you need to know what structures you want to go for, you want to see for, and accordingly you adjust your angles. So that is the best way a radiography can be achieved. So it was a small presentation of 3 projections. With this we are coming to end of it. We have told you clearly and in details why a X-ray is given angulation, why the mid-sagittal plane, why the orbitomeatal line should be angulated, how to know whether the X-ray is correct or not, what has gone wrong, so that you can correct it in the subsequent repetitions. What a radiologist or clinician wants is exactly important and aim of this lecture. You have to see patient, you have to console, you have to counsel, you have to know what exactly is required. Then you apply it to your anatomical knowledge and get it on the radiograph. If you give a wrong radiograph to a radiologist, the area of interest, the pathology will not be seen on the X-ray, and then again there will be nobody to blame but for yourself, that you have not asked patient properly, you have not angulated properly, and or you have not taken X-ray properly. So it's very important, know the pathology, know the anatomical structure, know the anatomical landmarks, know the radiology line, and see that the area you want has exactly come on the picture. So with that we are coming to end of this small video, also giving you a small handbook or a small chart or a small take-home page on which in brief we are seeing how the patient position should be, what should be distances, what should be angulations. In similar ways there will be radiograph for almost all the important anatomical organs or joints or any other aspects. Like in angiographic towns you have got different angulation. For the procedures you need certain obliques. For sternum you need again some different angulations. Sometimes you have to repeat with the different angulations. So all these things will be covered in different lectures. With this we acknowledge our mentors, that is the management of BLD, which is deemed to be university, and Sri BM Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, Vijayapur. All the videos are prepared by the staff of the radiology department as well as IT department in same medical college. We acknowledge with thanks, and without whom it would not have been possible. Thank you for giving me your time. Make use of these videos for your needy patients. Try to be as much correct as possible, knowing the reasons, and give your best to the patient. Take care. Good luck.